Bushwhacks were some of the worst days I've ever had in the mountains, or life, really.
Whereas Panther Mountain is totally opposite. It's a mountain on top of a crater.
I think the weather challenges on this incident were particularly difficult.
It was really the development of New York State. Catskills were responsible.
Now you're listening to Inside the Line, the Catskill Mountains Podcast.
All right, so episode 201, Microclimates with Alex Marra. He joins us tonight from Hudson Valley Weather. Alex, the president and founder of Hudson Valley Weather, is going to join us tonight, talk about microclimates in the Catskills. Cool thing we were talking about back at episodes 106, Alex was with me, and we talked about microclimates, but we didn't go into full depth. Now we are going to, and how they'd affect us on the trail, stuff like that when we can see them, how they're going to affect the day before. We also chat about stocking stuffers, a firefighter unfortunately passed away on Panther Mountain, and a former White Mountain trail director who is facing charges for embezzling money when he was a trail director in the White Mountains. So it's going to be a great night. Alex, welcome back, my friend.
How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
What episode number?
This is episode 201.
And you promised me 200.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, we wanted to bring you on after the Buffalo Bills kicked the Patriots' butts this past weekend.
It was a worthy wait. I mean, the combination of that comeback, I think, my favorite part sometimes about sports, and I'm not like I wouldn't say I enjoy watching sports. My wife's a huge Bills fan. For me, it's a bandwidth thing. Like sometimes if I have to choose between looking at long range forecast models or catching a football game, I'll prefer to watch the forecast models. But watching the people who are like hardcore Patriot fans, me logging into social media and seeing all their earlier updates before the game ended was probably some of the most satisfying, right? Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, he posted like 17 times about the dynasty's back, go Patriots, and then all the posts went quiet, and I was like, I wonder what happened.
But he was feeling really good at the end of the first half. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. They thought at the end of the first half they had another one in the bag. And then the Mafia came out for the second half and shut them down. So I can tell Alex is a Bills fan because his wife made him wear his Buffalo Bills sweatshirt for the recording tonight. You see the emblem there. Yeah, that's it.
Represent
Go Bills, go Bills. So Alex, last question before Stosh gets to move on. You talked about looking at long-range forecasts. Given your background, do you have a certain advantage in terms of predicting the weather and the outcome of a Bills game in Western New York, Orchard Park, lake effect snow?
Yeah. I think anytime there's going to be bad weather in Buffalo, I would say the Bills have the advantage, right? Because what other sports team has to play in that type of extreme weather, right? Yeah. And I think we saw that pretty well. Me, my wife, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, we were at the playoff game, Bills-Ravens last year, when they kept the Ravens kept making mistakes, one of which they dropped the ball at the very end and basically cost them the game. And the Bills went on to move forward in the playoffs. But before the game started, I mean, it was snowing. It was like 13 degrees. And I kept saying, I was like, man, those Baltimore players, they ain't used to this. And
that's right.
There you have it. Bunch of errors, bunch of drop balls, right?
Cold fingers, stuff like that.
Yeah,
they're not built for it, right?
Yeah. So one of the interesting questions is Buffalo's having a new stadium built for them. Why is it not enclosed?
Well, I love that it's not. I would hope that it's because playing outside in extreme weather is everything that the Bills represent. Putting a dome over that stadium would have been like a travesty, right? So
it neutralizes their advantage, I think.
It's kind of like I read somewhere where sports teams know where the sun is at certain parts of the day. Like I read once that the Dolphins put the visiting team on the side of the stadium that bakes in the sun, right?
Nice.
So they're in Florida humidity and sun the entire game while the Dolphin side is in the shade, right? So it's like knowing your microclimates can also create home field advantages.
Wow. We should talk about that then tonight. But before we move on, though,
football terms.
Yeah, it's not like, what Miami's doing down there has been helpful to them. So
no.
Let them keep thinking that's their advantage. Yeah, put the Bills in the sun. Let them bake over there.
Alex, did you just crack that open, man?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard. I was just like, oh man. Okay. So beyond football, there's going to be no episode next week. Unfortunately, it's Christmas, so we're going to take a week off for the first time in a long time. So, Merry Christmas, everyone. Alex is here tonight with his Santa hat on. So thank you, Alex, for being in the spirit. Really appreciate it. Hopefully everybody has a great Christmas. Enjoy. And speaking of Christmas, we have 10 best stocking stuffers. Well, there's probably like 15 here, but the number one I have, Tad, is a Cat Inside the Line Catskill Mountains podcast sticker. You can get them for free. Just send me a message with your address. That's the number one. That's on the number one.
Well, but I had that at the bottom of the list.
That's why I rearranged
You
this.
bumped it up? Okay.
Rearrange it. That's number one. So if you need a sticker, send me a message with your address. That's all it takes. It's for free. I'll send you 2 or 3 of them. So
does that include Lisa? If she sends you her address, she gets a sticker.
She should have gotten hers already, but she didn't post about it. Sean got his. So
all right.
So what else? I have on there socks. Some wool socks would be great stocking stuffers because I'll tell you about my story today with a wool sock that sounds horrible. Whoa, easy with socks.
Yeah. Alex just left the podcast. He's a clean and respectable guy, public figure, so he can't be part of that.
Alex Marra is marked safe from the ITL podcast.
There you go. Yeah.
Sweet. What else? Ham warmers? I don't know why you said boo with it. I mean, what's boo with ham warmers?
Have you ever used them? Have you ever used hand warmers?
I definitely have on my feet. Very many times.
On your feet? Wow.
When I had shitty shoes or shitty not socks, but like I have used them in my feet when I've gotten into situations.
Yeah. So. I'll carry hand warmers with me, and I have given them out to people in quite a few years of extensive Catskill winter hiking. I've only used hand warmers one time.
Yeah.
So I'm generally don't need to break them out. So
what about a Stewart's gift card? That's a good one.
I can't tell you how many times during the year people give me Stewart's gift card, and I either, use them. I do have a stack of like 3 or 4 in my home office that I can re-gift because people that ask me to do little favors know that a sure bet, just hand me a Stewart's gift card and I'm like a puppy dog looking at a dog bone. I'll wag my tail, do anything you want.
I've only been on for it's less than under 8 minutes, and I've learned that you are a tad bit difficult to shop for.
Yeah, some people say I'm a tad too much.
Tad too much, Jesus. I mean, Stewart, Alex, you're up north, right? You're in the Adirondacks now. They have Stewarts up there, correct?
I'm in the Catskills and Adirondacks.
But they go far up.
Adirondacks is my second favorite spot. When I'm not home. But yeah, I mean, Stewart's has a monopoly on everything from basically I would say Kingston on north. It's on lockdown.
Yeah, it's like Kingston, Syracuse, and then up to Lake Placid, I think is kind of like their triangle. So it's
my first job.
Working at Stewart's?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm 15 years old.
We're going to have to do that whole different episode for that because I got to admit, like running that place, working in that place is freaking crazy.
And we're going to have to call that like Inside Edition.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
The inside scoop.
There you go.
Yeah. What else, Tad? You threw a lot of stuff on here.
You had socks, hand warmers, Stewart's gift card, which was the Stewart's gift card. Great idea. I threw on battery power bank, checked out. You can get a decent one for $19. I think that's a good stocking stuffer. Everyone needs one nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the problem in life is knowing which cord goes with which device. You seem to have like one in every size, shape, and dimension.
I got a good one.
What's that?
How about a compass?
A compass.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
That's perfectly
I thought about a compass, but I thought that if somebody is going to give another person a compass, they really should know which one to get. Because there's so many different choices. Do you want one with the mirror, with the range finder thing on it, with you can calibrate the declination, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, compass, good idea. The compass I use, I think, is $18, $19. Had it a really long time. Still points north, sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Alex.
Yeah, compass is a good one. I mean, more so, not that everyone knows how to use a compass. I think if less people had a battery bank and a charged cell phone, more people would know how to use a compass. But I think it's very fitting for the content of the podcast and some of the things that you ultimately, unfortunately, need to report out on that happen in the Catskills. But to your point, you can't stuff compass knowledge in the same stocking, right? So without the understanding of how it works, it's just a cool conversation piece.
Yeah, and I believe that there might be a little intellectual barrier that intimidates people from figuring out how to use a compass, but 5 minutes, 10 at most, with a compass in hand and somebody to show you how to use it, you can be an ace using your compass.
True.
I would say my only challenge to that is so let's see, I've been running Hudson Valley Weather now since it's going to be 15 years.
Wow.
And
nice.
15 years later, I still have people asking me whether or not Kingston is in Ulster County. So as much as I'd like to think that everyone would pick up on a compass that quickly, you'd be surprised by how many people can't even find themselves on a map,
True.
even after being told. And it happens. I mean, anyone who's ever been in that comment thread during a big storm will say things like, hey, Ulster County is under a winter storm warning, and no less than 20 people will be like, okay, but what about Kingston? And you're like, well,
yeah,
that's Ulster County. So
it's well then.
I just think people have become, it's kind of like, how there's some folks out there now who, no matter where they're going, they turn their GPS on. I think we've just kind of lost our way from a tribal knowledge standpoint of being interested in or finding value in knowing exactly where you are in a map. I think everything is so at our fingertips that no one really wants to take the time out to be able to zoom in on a map and find themselves without any effort. I think the last generation that was very interested in finding themselves on the map is any generation that had to order pizzas with deliver pizza with MapQuest.
Yes, correct.
Well, my one comment about GPS navigation is I would like to do a statistical study to determine how the divorce rate in America went down after there was GPS in cars, because I imagine that the old days of the husband not wanting to pull over and ask somebody for directions and the family being perpetually lost on their way to the amusement park or the beach, that came to an end when they could just plug it into the GPS and follow the little, arrow on the map to get where they wanted to go. So I think divorce rates went markedly down in the post-Garmin navigation world.
And no attachment to your ball cap. It's not sponsored by Garmin.
Correct. Halle Hansen is what sponsors us.
Yeah. Well, I do have a corporate affiliation with Garmin, and they are my sponsor. And that's why my wife and I have successfully been married for 30 years, because we've had a Garmin. All right, that takes us to somehow
the next, Jesus,
to microspikes.
We're over in Connecticut now. We're out of Ulster County.
Yeah, we've become lost talking about navigation. Okay. So Microspikes is a stocking stuffer. You can get a basic pair of Microspikes on Amazon for $20. I probably every other year buy a new pair of micro spikes on Amazon. The older pair becomes my pair of rock spikes or nubs, and the new one, they're kind of, what I use early season, late season, or when there just isn't as much snow on the ground as the weatherman forecasts.
Correct.
Ooh, that was almost like
zing. All right. You want me to do my next one? My next one I thought was interesting. I thought it's noteworthy. I think a great stocking stuffer is some fire starter, like the SBIT fuel tabs. You can get a pack of those for $9. You don't need to use them in the SBIT stove. You can use them under, some sticks, twigs, broken up branches to get a fire going in the winter. It generates a pretty robust flame and has a burn time from anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. So it's a great fuel starter, fire starter.
These are good ones. Are we, is this like, are these things that you guys are doing for stocking stuffers or just coming up with good ideas?
Well, Alex, that's a good question. I didn't want to bring this up explicitly, but this was intended to be more of a subliminal messaging to our listeners that Stosh and I wanted these things.
God,
in our stockings.
I already got all these stuff in my pack right now. Like, come on.
Yeah, but more is better.
True.
Why not have 2 more Stewart's cards?
I have micro spikes there in the summer in my freaking pack for some reason.
Well, yeah, we know you walk around with the REI hiking department in your 85-liter fanny pack. Okay, that takes us.
Another good one would be the thing that serves as a seatbelt cutter, but also smashes your window open.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's an easily overlooked and extremely valuable tool. You hope that you never need that. Could really be a lifesaver, literally.
Yeah. I was going to throw machete on the list.
Wow.
That's
shocking.
But that would cause too much destruction of the woods. What I did throw on is a poncho. I think poncho is such a overlooked but highly versatile piece of hiking gear, go-to gear, because when you can have one that covers your pack as well as you. And the beauty of mountain hiking with the poncho is very breathable, right?
I mean,
you throw, let's say you have a
$9 one.
Yeah, you have a Helly Hansen shell. It's very robust, but it also doesn't breathe all that well, even with armpit zips. But you have a poncho, it protects your upper body from the elements, protects your pack from the elements, but it's open at the bottom, very breathable. I think it's a highly versatile hiking aid. And the best part about it, if you're giving it as a stocking stuffer, it will only set you back $9. Unlike the next item on my list, which I also think is a cool stocking stuffer for those of you who are looking to buy this for Stosh or Alex, because I don't. You have a life straw?
Dude, I have like everything. Search and rescue, man. I need to have, yeah.
You even have a gurney in your backpack? I wouldn't be surprised that you do. Defibrillators?
Defibrillator. No, I don't have those.
Okay. So Stosh is getting no stocking stuffers this Christmas. But those of you who are out looking for stocking stuffers for somebody who's just getting into hiking, I put on the list a Life Straw Peak Series personal water filter available for the low price of $18. I think it was $17.95. I rounded it up. So the next thing, which we know Stosh has several of in his voluminous backpack, and that is a survival blanket or survival tarp. You can, they vary in cost anywhere from like $6, $7 and up, depending on how big and how durable of one you have. I actually carry 2 of those survival bivy sacks in the winter because I figure I just double them up, and then the survival tarp.
Yeah, they weigh minimal. They weigh nothing.
They're just a few ounces each, and I figure in the worst case, if I have to be out there on an overnighter waiting for Stosh to charge up his Tesla to come out and find me, I'll be good. I'll still be semi-warm in the morning. But if I had the next item on the list, I probably wouldn't get lost in the Catskills hiking, and that is the New York, New Jersey trail maps for the Catskills, most recent edition, also available for $18.
Online.
Right?
Get it online and shipped to you, or at Camp Catskill.
Yeah, which I was at this past weekend.
Nice.
So my last item on the list is I picked a couple books that I thought would be worthwhile for folks to find in their stocking or wrapped in under the tree. And the first one is Ken Posner's Chasing the Grid. When we had Lisa on, what was it, 2 episodes ago, she told us that she had a copy of it and was enjoying it. And knowing what I know about Ken, I would say that's a good read. Stosh, do you have a copy of it?
I do.
The book? Oh, okay. Jeez.
Very, very, I know this sounds weird, very down to earth.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
It's very real.
Like,
it's very,
almost like he walks around without shoes.
Yeah. It's very real. It feels very Catskill-ish.
Yeah.
Just say it's not fake. That's what I find. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And of the many other books that would be possible recommendations for somebody to buy, is a stocking stuffer for a Catskill hiker is, drum roll please. Thank you, Stosh.
Yes.
Mike Kudish's The Catskill Forest, A History, available for $55. I have a copy. It is so thorough and just so interesting to learn about not only the history of the forest, but how it has been used over time, from barking to charcoal making and furniture making. He covers all the bases and the different areas of the forests, what trees you find here and what trees you find there. It's my go-to resource, particularly when I go bushwhacking and like weird places in the Catskills. It's fun to read his book beforehand and then identify where you are as you go along with the history he gives. So
I wouldn't argue the epicness of that book, but I will debate you on the fact that that would not fit in a stocking.
Yeah, that's
it all depends how big your stocking is.
That is a robust book.
Yeah. It's a very robust and awesome book.
And I have the hard copy.
Jealous.
Yeah. I have the hard copy, but I think it's the second edition.
Yeah, I've got a first edition hardcover that I'm afraid to open and read anymore because last time I tried to find one, they became incredibly valuable.
Oh yeah.
A first edition hardcover is like hard to get your hands on. So now I kind of just treat it like a
shrine.
It's a shrine at this point. Anyone who calculates their current altitude by hiking with a barometer in the Catskills is a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been with him when he does that?
My good friend Will has been on several hikes with Mr. British.
Yeah. I've actually carried his barometer in my backpack, and I considered that to be quite an honor to have that. Yeah, I think it actually was originally used for Christopher Columbus, who reportedly sailed across some big body of water hundreds of years ago. I think that's where this...
He was on the front of the boat, be like, where's the trees? I need some trees here, man. We need to look at some trees. I don't care about this water. Get me to the freaking land.
Land ho.
Yeah. Well, cool. Glad. Thank you, Ted, for adding a lot to that list. I mean, I just freaking buy everything and put it in your pack. That's my advice.
Yeah, Stosh, because I have a wife and 2 daughters. I know a little bit about shopping. Okay.
True. Yeah.
I can't believe none of you said, out of all hiking gear that would fit in a stocking that is fairly priced, that I feel like would be a prized possession for anyone to dig out of the bottom of a stocking, and it would slide all the way to the bottom, would be a pocket rocket by MSR.
True. Pocket rocket, those things are like little...
Great.
Yeah, so Alex, I'll say that on some of the lists I checked out of, this blogger's top 10 and that blogger's top 10 of hiking stocking stuffers, there was a lot of stuff on the list I thought was better for backpackers. So carrying a pocket rocket or other little micro stove, I didn't think was for a hiker. I mean, and you can come up with a lot of things for backpackers, but I did put the SBIT fuel tabs on there because they're individually packaged. They're just so handy and convenient if you want to use them to start a fire in the winter or in the rain. I think it's
cool. Those are cool, cool little fuel tabs.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you got somebody who's getting into backpacking, hook them up with the pocket rocket.
Yeah, those things are awesome. Awesome. So on to the next topic. Unfortunately, this came out a couple days ago. Phoenicia firefighter passed away during a rescue on Panther Mountain. We have on December 15th, Michael Ryan, a firefighter and commissioner of the Phoenicia Fire District, died Saturday while attempting to rescue an injured hiker. Suffered a heart attack half-mile into the woods near Panther Mountain, and multiple agencies were searching for the hiker. Attempts to revive him at the scene were unsuccessful, and he was pronounced dead on the scene. His death comes as fellow Phoenicia firefighter Christopher Craig remains in a coma following a serious car accident last week in New Paltz. So the Phoenicia area is suffering right now. So big blow to the community. So there's no date for his funeral services. I haven't heard anything on the rescue, how it was, how, that it happened and stuff like that. But, unfortunately, I hate to say it, it happens. You go up a mountain, you never know what could happen. You could be overwhelmed by what's going on or something, and it could just happen. So unfortunately, our thoughts go out to the family of Michael Ryan and, the firefighters that are close to him and his family and stuff. So, sorry to break that news. So it sucks. So I didn't hear about the rescue that happened. I didn't know about the rescue that happened up on Panther. Of course it would be Panther. It'd be Panther, Slider, Catskill Falls. So, yeah, sorry guys. So, but yes, agree. Rest in peace. So, the next one was a little messed up that I read. Former White Mountains Trail Director pleaded guilty to fraud charges. So, nonprofit group in the White Mountains, Melanie Luce, who had led the Compton-based Trail Collective from 2019 to 2021, was accused of stealing funds as well as misleading the group board of directors about grant funding. And apparently, she stole $193,724. According to the plea agreement, prosecutors say that Lucy opened a credit card in March 2021 without the approval of the nonprofit board of directors. She used that card to pay $28,000 of her own web design company as well for personal car repairs. In total, authority alleged that she misappropriated approximately $58,000 in payment. As time went on, people started finally getting the idea that she was doing this. They said the board of directors that claiming she had obtained $475,000 in grant from a foundation and provided a copy of the forged agreement that led to a $20,000 performance bonus. She later obtained a line of credit in the organization's name to cover her debts, but ultimately defaulted on a $44,000 loan to that entity. Lucy told authorities that individual board members were aware and some instances were encouraged of her conduct. So now she's saying that everybody else was involved and stuff. Once again, 2019, the White Mountains Trail Collective worked with partner agencies, the U.S. Forest Service and the Appalachian Mountain Club, as well as smaller trail conservation organizations up in the White Mountains to raise money to restore heavily used trails in the Whites. That involvement, once again, became huge in 2020, 2021 when everybody started hiking and stuff. So they got more grants. They were citing for more grants. And then unfortunately you get a greedy person like Lucy or whatever, to do this, and you got her shit coming on. But in 2012, she pleaded guilty to 4 counts of felony theft and misuse of a credit card after stealing approximately $180,000 from a medical practice in Plymouth, where she worked as an office manager. She was sentenced to serve 12 months in the House of Corrections to pay that. So, I mean, could you see this coming? Like that's pretty fucked. That's a lot of money. $193,000 for a nonprofit organization that wants to make your trails better. Just keep pouring this money in. And this woman's just like, yeah, let me pay off some of my debt. Let me fix my car. Like, the fuck. God bless America. So,
yeah, well, it's interesting when you look at some of these allegations and wonder, where was the audit and control in this organization that they didn't pick up on this sooner? Typically, non-for-profits are required to have, financial records audited or certified by a CPA, and a well-run non-for-profit would have procedures in place where one person doesn't have control over all aspects of the money, incoming and outgoing, the record keeping, and et cetera. But when they don't have those checks and balances in place, that's when conduct like this is likely to occur. And the fact that this woman was previously convicted and sentenced to serve 12 months in a correctional facility makes you question whether or not they did a background check on her before hiring her or allowing her to serve in this position. So,
was she a hiker? Like that's a thing. Like, was it just like, oh, like, how did you approve of this? It's like $185,000 previous charge against you, like previous stealing and stuff. And then you're just like, yeah, let's hire her. She's pretty good. Like, what the fuck? Like, being a former vice president of 3500 Club, every meeting we go through the budget we have. So it's not like, there's some amount of money and then all of a sudden this decreases and somebody's like, hey, where did that money go? Like, people ask that question. It seemed like in this, it was just like, we have $400,000, and then after 3 months, the next meeting, they're like, oh, we have $200,000. Nobody was just like, hey, where did that $200,000 go that we previously had for $400,000? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's great. That's hilarious and horrible at the same time. Like, what the fuck?
According to my research assistant AI overview, the White Mountains Trail Collective in 2020 had revenue and expenses of around $500,000. So, yeah, I mean, this sounds like she embezzled, misappropriated, conned them out of a significant portion of their annual budget over the course of 3 or 4 years. And then when somebody comes in and says, hey, I got a grant for $440,000 and they get a $20,000 bonus, I wonder where the $440,000 was, reported as showing up. If I told Stosh that I just got a grant from the National
Hudson Valley Weather.
Well, yeah, Hudson Valley Weather, which I know is aching to write us a check for $440,000. But let's just take like Hudson North, the cider company, which I know wants to sponsor us. And I say that they gave us $500,000. I'm sure you'd want to see the deposit slip showing that the money went into our bank account, right?
Correct. So, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. By the way, you got to see the new Jeep I just bought. Oh, is it hot? Yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts?
I think, just listening to you read the article once, obviously my ADD kicks in. So I'm just like picking up on just small nuances in the article. And I think maybe what the key point we're missing here is it went unnoticed because the amount that she's being accused of quote unquote stealing was in the form of a credit card that she opened on behalf of the organization, right? So that would easily have gone unnoticed because she probably misrepresented herself as an officer of the company, used the company's credentials to open a credit card, and then used that credit card and ran up a whole bunch of charges. Something that wouldn't have necessarily need to have been reported at annual meetings and wouldn't have been caught until later on. So it's not like she was taking directly out of the coffers, which to Tad's point would have been noticed because they keep a pretty good checks and balance on that kind of stuff, especially in a non-for-profit. So my guess is it was mostly credit card damage that was done. But nevertheless, I wish I could say any of it's surprising, but a quick glance at the news would quickly prove that this is of a minor offense compared to all of the terrible things that happen day in and day out across the world. So it's no surprise that a bad person worked their way into a good organization that sets out to do great things for nature and took advantage of them. So, but it's good to see that the justice has worked and, it was caught. And, obviously now the bigger problem becomes is like anyone who's capable of doing that is probably also incapable of repaying said debt. So
yeah,
it will probably ultimately end up being a loss for the organization.
Yeah. So
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, like somebody will like look at this and be like, oh, let's keep these people. They did well before this shit happened. Let's keep them afloat.
Well, you would hope so. I sadly think that this will negatively impact the donations to this organization, at least for
we'll see
short term.
We'll see. We'll. I mean, we don't have to do anything. Hopefully, Slasher will mention about this. So,
yep.
All right. So, excellent. We're gonna end shooting the shit, and we're gonna open up what we got going on. We're gonna do it. So, Alex, are you ready to go with open up what you got? Hold on. You got to do the audio settings. All right. What is it? Low again? There it is. All right. Who's gonna go first?
I'll do it. I'm ready. I'm locked and loaded.
Okay. Alex, you want to pop open yours, sir? Oh, beautiful. All right. And finally, God, everybody's got some good ones. Cheers. Cheers to Merry Christmas.
Yeah. It's like you had a double click there, Stosh.
Happy holidays.
Oh, yeah. Happy holidays. Thank you for being in the spirit, Alex. So,
and I say go Bills.
Yes.
That's my happy holidays.
Go Bills.
Yeah. All right. Thank you to the monthly supporters, Bob McLean, Chris Garabee, and Jeff Jotz, Vicky Ferrer, Mikey S., John Comiskey, Summit Seekers, Desert City Radio, Betsy A., Denise W., Vanessa, Jim C., and Eric. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. I love you guys. Once again, if you want to support the show, you can go on Buy Me a Coffee and go to the sponsorship area, and it shows you to support the show. It's like a daily supporter or a monthly supporter. So also thank you to the awesome sponsors of the show, like Outdoor Chronicles Photography. So capture your love story against breathtaking backdrops with Outdoor Chronicles Photography. Molly specializes in adventure couple photography, and she'll immortalize your moments amidst the stunning landscapes of the Catskills, Adirondacks, and White Mountains. She'll craft timeless images that reflect unique bond in nature's grandeur. Embark on an unforgettable photographic journey with Outdoor Chronicles Photography. Don't hesitate to get a hold of Molly on all platforms. Also, discover the wilderness with Trailbound Project. Our expert-led hiking and backpacking education program offer unparalleled outdoor experiences. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned adventurer, join us to learn essential skills, explore stunning trails, and connect with nature. Start your journey today with Trailbound Project and unlock the wonders of the great outdoors. So, Alex, we didn't have this before when you were on the show. You were on episode 106. So we got a new little thing called Are You Really Outdoors? So you're out in the things. You mentioned the podcast, one of your social media. You can tag us by typing at ITL Catskill MTM podcast on your post. And we just talk about their adventures that they had in the Catskills or wherever they were. So pretty cool thing. Lisa, Chaotic Quixotic, she was on a couple episodes ago. She went up Cheryl and Hockett on a chilly 11-degree day and also closed out October on Balsam Lake Mountain. So she's doing her grid. And Alex, I can't wait to talk about you doing your 3,500 at an early number. It's going to be fun. Josh, a.k.a. the Headbanging High Peaker, freaking phenomenal name. Josh, I know you. You live close to me. Closed out his December grid on Vly. So good job, Josh. Awesome. Have fun. December is going to be fun. Jeff Jotz in Orla went and did 7 miles on the AT, probably down in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. Todd Bold, looks like he went up Jimmy Dolan Notched and tagged Indian Head and Twin. So good job, Todd, for being back out after your injuries. Hiker Yogi Kelsey did Rip Rock with Cruise Outside, I believe, and Henderson Hikes and Tom Hoos and a bunch of other people. There's a whole boatload of people in that little group there, Tad. Did you see that?
Yeah, and it seemed to be one of those ugly sweater hikes.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, Rip's Rock. The only thing is do you have to get permission to go up Rip's Rock? I mean, if you go from the east, you kind of have to, right? With the black, I don't know what it's called now, actually, because it's been bought out. The Black Bear Mountain Resort or something.
Oh, I think they started off at the Winter Cove.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which has that neat little bridge over the waterfall that many folks take photos of. And they are pretty cool with letting you park at their facility and walking through their property to get to the trails that are behind them. But they ask that you check in at the front desk before you head out. And so they can tell you where's best for you to park that day. And, they know what people are there and what cars are out in the lot. They also, at that place, they have a interesting old style indoor bowling alley, which I thought was cool. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, the gang was out there. So awesome. Once again, have fun, whatever. Back in at it is Who's Outdoors, did post-hike Jewels and Bites, and he was feeding his dog. What's the dog's name again, Ted? I don't remember. It's been a while since he's tagged us, so.
This is Tom. His dog is, I think, Sadie.
Sadie. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Tom. It's been a while, buddy. So
yeah, Tom posts some cool stuff, man. He does a lot of waterfall shots. He hikes extensively in the Delaware Water Gap area. Does some cool stuff down there. And then from time to time, he puts together the social hikes, which usually start off with Tom, departing New Jersey in his car and giving you like a little morning rundown. And then he will post later in the day. So it's pretty cool stuff that he does. But I will say, I don't know why Tom chose us to tag us with this hike, because he had the most ridiculous Christmas sweater and Christmas pants on.
Yeah.
But I guess that was the point. So
all out.
Thanks,
all
Tom.
out.
Merry Christmas, buddy.
Yes. Also, Todd Bold was back out again, did a section of the long path after a fresh coat of snow. Catskill Mountain Bruce Scott broke up trail to Red Hill, then checked out the Visitors Center at Sopus Fire Tower, and then tagged Overlook as well. So going after his fire towers for the year, I think. So he doesn't have much more to do. Red Hand Adventure Guides Mike is over in Bozeman, Montana, but he still tags us. So he's outside the line, but he still tagged us. So once again, thank you everybody who tagged us. You're getting out and enjoying the Catskills. Tag us by typing at ITL Catskill MTM podcast on your post. And thank you once again for tagging us and listening to the show. Really appreciate it. Also, if you want to support the show, buy us a hard cider on buymeacoffee.com. It's only I think the minimum is like $5. So it goes towards the show and then goes towards the Catskills. So once again, I think 2 episodes ago, I mentioned that we made a $500 donation towards the Forest Ranger Foundation, and that was matched by my company. So it was an overall $1,000 donation. So yeah, let's go. Keep kicking ass. Rate the show. Have some fun. Rate the show. Make some funny comment of 5 stars, please. So let's get on to what we are drinking. Alex, what do you got, buddy? What did you have?
I never had it before, but it is fitting for the season. It is an Imperial Maple Brown Ale. Let's see what it says about it. It's made with grade A maple syrup.
God damn, that sounds good.
Sounds like
toasted maple bark and aged on toasted maple wood. I mean,
wow.
Sounds Canadian, eh?
Vermont.
I don't know.
Imperial.
Where is this made? Well.
Probably right next to where you live.
That's Westkill.
Oh, no shit. Are you lying?
That's very interesting. Yeah, hold it up to the camera. We need some proof here, Alex. Maple Hill.
Shit.
Yeah, wow. Does it say you can try it with breakfast? Yeah, that's Westkill.
Oh, no shit. Were you playing with us? Like, was that a surprise really for you too?
It's pretty good, right? I mean, not to mention our good friends at Westkill are the ones who helped us release the beer called Microclimate.
Oh, damn. Nice.
With our logo on it.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that was a cool collaboration. Speaking of microclimates.
Yeah. Sounds like Stosh and we got to get on that game. We need our own beer, man.
Yeah, I got to get a hold of Mike. Mike's got to get back to me after.
We're not
4 years.
We're not waiting for him to get back to us. We're just going to show the fuck up at his place. With all of our listeners, with all three of our listeners, Tom, who's included, and Sadie, and we're going over there and not leaving until we get our own beer.
Yes. So how's the Microclimates beer? What is that? I'm guessing you participated in that. Like, what is it like? What does it taste like?
Which one? The Microclimate?
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was great. It didn't come out this year, but man, I tell you what, it was on tap. It was in a can. It was a session IPA. It was good. It was good. But my favorite detail that I worked out with them that we really had a ton of fun with is it was a winter release. So we made them put measuring lines on the side of the can so that our listeners could use the beer cans to tell us how much snow had fallen.
Wow. That is fantastic.
I like that.
When the hell did that come up? Why wasn't I on this? Like, what the hell? This is crazy how I didn't know about this.
You were probably hiking.
I was disappointed in myself.
So I think our beer, Westkill should do a beer for us that the top of the can is a compass. So when you're out bushwhacking, you can just hold your IPA in front of you and look at the compass on it for your bearing, and then, take a sip, hike along, look at the compass again, check your bearing, take another sip.
Interesting.
And they'll sell a lot of 6-packs that way, or 4-packs, because people will be out bushwhacking.
I don't know. You see, I have a different idea of it being like the top of it being like a mountain lion face. So when you take a sip, the mountain lion's like biting your face off like it should be.
Or kissing you.
I mean, that too. I mean, either or. I mean,
yeah.
Mountain lions are very nice here up in the Catskills. Out west, now they'll kill you. Out here, they're very friendly. They're very lovely.
Yeah.
So what are you having, Tad?
All right. So this is a repeat. It's my tried and true favorite from Zero Gravity, Duck Juice IPA, coming in at a 7% alcohol content, but it is just smooth, well-balanced, drinkable, and as the can says, it drinks as smooth as a duck on water. So there you go.
Nice.
Yummy.
I am having a Hudson North caramel apple. I love it. Delicious. Fantastic. Hold on. The alcohol is only 5%. I'm disappointed. I've got to go find, for part 2, we'll get a bigger, higher alcohol content. So, yeah. Very delicious. So caramel apple. I was looking for their new, they had a vanilla chai that was out. I was looking for that. I didn't have that anywhere here. They didn't even have any Hudson North at Hickory Hill in freaking Wyndham. I was a little disappointed.
I mean, it's a Tuesday night. We don't have to, the alcohol content doesn't necessarily need to increase.
It's Tuesday I don't know. Yeah, true. I got to go to work at 4:00 tomorrow. So, anyway, thank you everyone. Previous hikes, Alex, you been up to anything lately?
I've spent a lot of time in the woods, a lot of time exploring in the woods, but I can't give you necessarily landmarks or recognizable peaks or summits because a lot of it's been off trail, trying to get lost unsuccessfully, just wandering through the woods. A lot of that both in the Catskills and the Adirondacks. Not necessarily with any goals in mind, just going out there. I mean, just the other night, it was -6 in the Adirondacks, and I just threw on a headlamp, and we just trudged out aimlessly in the woods and tried to get ourselves turned around, and unsuccessfully. and just kind of hung out in the woods listening to the silence. And it was great. It was
Nice.
great. I found myself a little less focused on hitting targets and just trying to find things and stand in places where I can sit there for a moment and say, I wonder when the last time somebody was here is.
Yeah.
I find that oddly satisfying.
I mean, I remember the last time, you were doing that as well with your kids and stuff, just wandering out in the Adirondacks and stuff like that, just.
Yeah, it's different kind of woods up there. We're near some pretty cool destinations, and also I'm as I know you're probably aware of, I'm a hunter, but so I also, that naturally brings me into the woods a lot, and I hunt very similarly to the way that I like to explore, in the fact that I go to places where I rarely see other hunters, right? So, just picking a point and being like, well, that looks interesting, and just heading in that direction and seeing what I can find. And the things you come across in the woods when you're exploring woods that are not necessarily along somebody's typical journey, or in between a road in a highly thought after destination point, like a 3,500 summit, you find some pretty cool stuff. So that's pretty much where my explorations have taken me.
That sounds absolutely fantastic, because, sometimes that's where we want to go. Tad, you do that quite often. I'm not so much. I'm more, I wouldn't say goal orientated, but like on Tuesdays, I have to be back by a certain time to get this going and stuff like that. So, that's wandering aimlessly and stuff like that is how the word to describe it is. Just
it's very cool. The woods are cool like that. And I feel like, Tad, based on some brief comments you made earlier, you could probably relate to the fact is the cool thing about the woods is I've been in some woods recently that I thought I knew really, really well, and wandered maybe what could be the equivalent of 200 or 300 yards from spots that I had trekked over numerous times, and felt like I was in a whole different place. Right. Yeah. And I'm standing there and I'm like, man, look at these rock formations, and look at this giant boulder split right down the middle, and check out these animal tracks. And I'm like, this place is so cool. How have I never found this before? And then, you refer back to a GPS point and you're like, that's where I was? Like, that's not really far from anything that I haven't seen before. Right. And it's like, you don't, and it thoroughly explains why people get so easily lost in the woods, right? Because literally 100 yards off of a trail that you've gone up 150 times are woods that can seem so foreign and unfamiliar, which I think my ADD need to chase dopamine, I get more thrill now finding woods that have become redundant and seeing them in a whole new fashion. From a different angle, if that makes sense.
No, it freaking does.
I get that. You can visit a place a number of times and still not be all that familiar with it. And the more you're there, often the more you see than when you go there the first time. And that's where, relating back to Mike Kudish's book, is a really great resource. His book and the maps and notes that are available online through, I think it's the University of Vermont, has scanned all of, or substantially all of, Mike Kudish's field notes from his many hikes in the Catskills, where he does these hand-drawn maps that are very interesting. And on some of the maps, you'll see where he writes out what his hypothesis is, and then how in the course of his hike, he either proves it or questions it, and I find that very fascinating. So, if you want to move on to my hike this past weekend, I hiked Round Top and Catskill High Peak, and part of my Grid Point 2.0 series. And I've hiked both of those mountains many times. I've hiked them from Gillespie Road, as I did this time. But one of the things I did, kind of to Alex's point, is although I've been up Round Top many times, this time I went to the southern face of that mountain, which I've hiked under quite a bit and I've admired. from that location. The rock outcroppings and rock cliffs, if you will, that you can see from below. And so this time I hiked up through that area, and I was wearing snowshoes. I put the snowshoes on just as you approach that first hemlock forest, as you're leaving Gillespie Road. Were snowshoes required? Probably not. I probably could have done the whole hike without snowshoes, but I decided to use them. Getting up and over those rock ledges was fun, somewhat challenging in a few instances, but it wasn't as much effort as I was expecting. The little rock cairn at the top of Round Top is still there. That's where I found somebody's tracks, or a number of people's tracks, because although it was trenched out, there was maybe an inch or two of snow that had fallen on top of the trench that led from Round Top over to Catskill High Peak. There was instances going through the col and heading up to Catskill where it had drifted over, and you hit some drifts that were, waist high, all very manageable. Made my way to Catskill High Peak, signed in, checked out Hurricane Ledge. One of the things that stands out is there was just an abundance of animal tracks throughout that whole crossing, from rabbits to coyote tracks to bobcat tracks, of all things I saw. What I did not see, although Davis and I, when we did our bushwhack up Cornell 2 weeks ago, we saw a ton of bear tracks when we went up Cornell. I, going up Catskill, did not see any bear tracks at all. But what I did see at the summit when I returned from Hurricane Ledge, crossing over the summit to go down the north side of Catskill, I ran into Mike, who is the surveyor that I bumped into a few weeks ago on the top of Rusk. He remembered me, said he's been listening to the show. He also finished his first round of the 3,500 at Catskill, so I snapped a photo for him. And then I went down the north side of Catskill, which I do not recall going down the north side of Catskill ever before. I've been up it a few times.
You talk about the well-traversed side that's not marked, but marked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trail. The only thing it's missing is actually trail markers. When I got down to where this unmarked but firmly established social trail connects with the moat, also known as the snowmobile trail around Catskill and Round Top, I ran into two guys from Brooklyn who were hiking out. They set out from Platte Cove. To me, they seemed relatively inexperienced. I gave them a few pointers, and I think the best pointer I gave them was, no matter where they were, at 1:30, they needed to be on their way back to their car.
Yeah.
So I hope they took that advice and got back to their cars safely. But after giving them my limited instructions or advice, I continued on the snowmobile trail, also known as the moat, if I haven't said that before. But the nice thing about hiking on the moat on Saturday was it, for the most part, was substantially frozen. So you didn't have to worry about like taking that forward step and, your foot sinking down to the point where your knee was in the muck and mud, which is kind of a common occurrence there. So I made my way back to my trusty Jeep on Gillespie. I headed into the downtown of Tannersville, whereupon I went into Camp Catskill and bought some stocking stuffers, none of which were on our list above. But I hung out and chatted with Mo from Hike On Guides for a little bit. Mo is kind of like one of the leading authorities of all things Catskill hiking and hiking elsewhere. But so we chatted for a little bit, then I got my stocking stuffers and headed home.
Nice.
So that's my hike report. So there wasn't as much fresh snow as I expected from the reports I had seen online from untrustworthy weather sources.
Other than Hudson Valley weather?
Yeah, such as weather.com.
Yeah.
Mountain Summit Forecast, which is kind of like the fake news of
correct
weather forecasts.
We need Hudson Valley weather to do like a peak summit forecast. It's just that Hudson or that mountain weather forecast, man, is like high winds of 280 freaking miles an hour, prepared for negative 200 degrees.
Don't worry, Stash. Every single time, every time you post their forecast, it makes me wonder why I signed up to be on episode 201.
That's the only reliable source.
You frequently share weather forecasts from everything but Hudson Valley weather, and I do go out of my way to include the Catskills in my forecasts.
So we're going to have to pick up on that, Stash, because according to Mountain Summit Forecast, I was going to be hiking in winds of 50 miles an hour on Saturday. And while I did experience some wind atop Catskill High Peak I was there at around 11:30 noonish. It wasn't blowing 50 miles an hour. They were forecasting cold temps in the single digits, if not with wind chill below zero. No, I was moderately dressed, very comfortable for what I was wearing. It wasn't cold. You can tell when it's really cold out because the snow starts squeaking, and the snow wasn't making any noise like that. So yeah, I
apologize, Alex. I apologize. I need some summit forecasts. I know you do post of the Catskills and stuff like that, but I need like summit forecast the day before of the peaks, because a lot of people in the Hudson Valley, yes, they do. They're from there, but they don't care about the Hudson Valley. They care about the high peaks and stuff like that. They care about anything above 3,200 feet. So,
yeah, it's I'll give you a perfect example. Just while we're on the subject of microclimates, so forecasting 50-mile-an-hour winds on Catskill High Peak, when the winds were out of the northwest, with Round Top behind the mountain, was already a flawed forecast, right? So, and that's really the problem with weather forecasting is generalizing that large areas are going to receive the same conditions without being hyper aware of the fact that really throughout the Catskills, there's multiple regions of just the 3,500 peaks that require all individual forecasts.
Oh, yeah.
When you start to get into the value, right? I see the value in it. You're not going to get weather.com or AccuWeather to see the value in creating grid forecasts for uncivilized mountaintops for hikers, right? It's just there's no return on that, right? So what they're doing is they generalize. Were there parts of the Catskills that saw 50-mile-an-hour gusts that day? Most certainly. More likely, Graham and Balsam Lake Mountain, which have no high terrain, right? So to their west. So knowing what's upstream from your location and knowing the main source of the wind direction is critical in getting a high peaks wind forecast correct. And a lot of those sources are just overly flawed and lean towards dramatics just to get clicks. So
true. And maybe that's why I posted to have people prepare for the worst, because like, what if you didn't go up and you're expecting negative temperatures and you don't have your Helly Hansen shell? Jeez. Yeah. I gotta throw that in there. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
We get sponsorship money from them, by the way, Alex.
Every time.
So that's where we mentioned Helly Hansen.
I was picking up on the trend.
Yeah. So. All right. So I'm going to go quickly because I want to get to microclimates and stuff like that. So Sunday, I went hiking up Bramley Mountain. Beautiful, snowy weather. I had to break trail mostly the whole freaking time. Absolutely stunning. 14 degrees at the trailhead. So with like 20-mile-per-hour winds up at the fire tower. So Alex, you freaking know the absolute insane calculations for wind chill is what, like every wind is like 3.9, like negative 3.9 or something like that. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's a very weird calculation.
Okay, so I'm going to say it was 14 at the summit with 20-mile-per-hour winds, and we have converted. It's going to be negative 3 degrees at the fire tower. So that was phenomenal. Threw on my puffy, threw on my shell, went up above the tree line, and just enjoyed the flurries and enjoyed the view of the snow coming in. It was fantastic. But used the snowshoes the whole time. It was I just felt it's winter. Like we haven't gotten a lot of winter in the past 5 to 10 years. So it's great to see this. And then today I went up Black Dome. I just went up to the viewpoint. I didn't even summit. I was just like, I want to get a viewpoint. I just want to see the view. And I bare booted for about a mile. Then threw on spikes, and funny, the bare booting, I slipped on a rock and fell in a fucking water. I fell in one of the creeks. My boot fully encased in water. I'm just like, God, already? Like I haven't even hit freaking like an incline. And I was like, oh man, I'm like, let's see how it holds out. The wool socks did great, kept my feet warm and stuff like that. I threw on spikes probably right when you start at the incline to Black Dome. And then not even 100 yards later, I was like, I got to throw on snowshoes. I'm starting to sink. Like, it was insane. All of a sudden, it's just drifts everywhere. The concrete sidewalk turned into, I had to break trail for the next quarter of a mile up to Lockwood Grep. Like, all the switchbacks were full, and it was just insane. It seemed like nobody had been up there. And then right when you hit there's that last switchback that you start going over the crest of the lock, like the gap, you can see the kind of the sun. It's a concrete block again. And then both ways going up Blackhead and Black Dome, we're fine. So that gap, that Lockwood gap, I've always found the weather up there to be either insane or to be nothing. Just like, over in Panther Mountain between Giant Ledge and Panther Mountain. To be absolutely the calmest place on earth, or to be an insane freaking wind tunnel. So it was awesome. Went up, got the viewpoint, came back down. I was the only person in the parking lot, only person on the trail. It was insane. Nobody has been up there for 2 days since Sunday. So broke trail, like I said, broke trail. He had to use the snowshoes, felt great. I used them all the way up to the top and or to the viewpoint and then back down. And then I at that one point I switched back to bare booting. But I gotta say, like, there's sometimes I love snowshoes, but then sometimes I fucking hate them because you overlap with each other, you fall, you feel like a freaking idiot, like a moron. You're just like, something catches on a rock, you fall face first, and you're like, what the hell is this? You feel like a little child learning how to walk. And I love, there's a love-hate relationship between snowshoes.
They're like wearing clown shoes, especially at the beginning of the season when you're not used to it. You've had all spring, summer, and fall off of snowshoeing. It takes a little getting used to strapping them back on at first, but
it's a good time.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time I did basically all of my 35s in some, I guess they could be considered old school MSR Lightnings, which are great snowshoes, by the way. But it was before they came out with the Televator.
Oh. And
I did all of them with the old 30-inch MSR Lightnings, no lifter bar. And the binding eventually failed on them, and I grabbed myself a new one. I'm like, I'll just get another pair of Lightnings. They were great to me. I put thousands of miles on these things. And I noticed that bar one day, like halfway up a mountain. And of course, I didn't read the instructions. I was like, it's MSR Lightnings. They're cool new color, slightly better bindings. And I think I was halfway into a 3500 deep powder, steep terrain. And I'm like, what is this thing? And I flipped those things up. And I just remember being like, wait a second. What is this? What just happened? It was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It really does. It makes a difference. But I was so used to not using them that, to your point, I felt like I was learning how to use them all over again. Because when you flip those things up, it becomes even more awkward.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't, they're great on steep terrain, but the minute, and the Catskills with their classic stair step topography, you're not always on the uphill. And if you leave those things flipped up and you start to level out, and then you're like, all right, this is weird. And you got to flip them back down again, but they are a game changer.
Yeah. And that's what that's what I was doing up on Blackhead. You go up, you hit the switchback, and you're like, man, why do I have these freaking things on? Slap them down. They're like, oh man, now I got to go back up, put them back on. Freaking like, it's just, it's phenomenal. But then it's just like, God damn it.
So Stasher, do you pull yours on and off with your trekking pole?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and to be honest, like half of the way up Black Dome into the gap, I didn't have them on. I totally forgot about them. And I was just like, God damn, this is a bitch. Yeah. And then like Alex said, you're like, oh, I forgot about these babies. Oh, cool. Yeah. Like I felt like an idiot.
For the few of our listeners who don't know what we're talking about, MSR snowshoes and other brands have these heel lifts, which on MSR are called televators, that when you pull up this bar, your heel is supported by the bar when you step back down on the snowshoe, and it gives you about 2 inches to 2.5 inches of lift off the deck of the snowshoe itself. And the intention is to reduce the strain on your calf, your Achilles tendon, and require less stretching of the muscle and the tendon when you're hiking uphill. So it reduces that fatigue. But the other thing it also does is it lets you get more bite pushing down on the snowshoe earlier with your foot and putting more force on the front of it so you get more uphill traction. So not only do they reduce the fatigue, but they help you get that uphill traction and push off your foot going uphill. So they're a big game changer. And some days when you're out hiking in the winter and you're not post-holing because everything's packed down really, really good, it's still nice to put your snowshoes on and kick up those televators and get a little relief going uphill with them.
Yeah.
Having done all my winter 35s without televators, I kind of feel like some of the first people who summited Everest wearing leather boots.
Yeah. All right, Alex. All right. Yeah. Oh,
I've made it to the top.
Yeah. Standing here on the summit of Slide Mountain.
With
nice,
no
Alex.
Yes.
With no television. Oh my God. I would have loved to see
the
that.
First ascent slide without elevators.
Jesus.
I think they're putting up a plaque in your runner right next to the Burroughs plaque.
Gonna fly off that plaque of John Burroughs, be like, first without elevators. Nice.
It's like back in my day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even like I didn't finish. I finished like 5-6 years ago. And I seriously say that, like back in the day, like I wore khakis. I didn't wear freaking.
Back in the day when Friday Mountain was really a trailless summit.
Yes. Yeah. We'll talk
when there was a few of those in the Cats back in the day.
Correct. So we all had a great time. So glad we all had a good time. Once again, Catskill News Volunteer, New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, 3500 Club Catskill Trail Crew, Catskill Mountains Club Visitor Center, Jolly Rovers Trail Crew. And if you need stickers, let me know. Send me your address and I will send them to you for free. No charge at all. So how are we going to do the weather forecast tonight?
Oh boy, that's a sensitive subject.
Yeah, that's like I don't know if I could ever use Mountain Forecast again. I got to get this. Yeah. You don't even have to sponsor this, and I could say if you give me a forecast for the weekend, I'll be like, this is sponsored by Hudson Valley Weather. I'm proud to support that.
Tad mentioned weather.com. I was like, wow. I mean, we're just firing shots here.
I mean, what am I?
Wow.
My go-to for weather forecasting is Color Radar. That's what I look at.
Yes. So if we're going to go with mountain weather forecast, it looks pretty weird. We're getting a crazy thaw freeze for the mostly thaw till Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday it's going to be another freeze. So we have temperatures coming to maybe like the 40s in the Catskills. When the valleys it might be down maybe the 50s in the lower elevations and stuff like that. And then coming Saturday, it's supposed to be back to cold again. Mountain weather forecast says wind chills will be down to 0 degrees, a high of maybe 28 on Balsam Mountain. On Saturday, Friday, it says a high of 43, but once again, it kicks down to the lower temperatures at night of 14 degrees with a wind chill of negative 18 degrees. And it says rain Thursday and Friday, and then it switches back to snow in the higher elevations. And then Saturday and Sunday, it says partly cloudy, clear. Both days, a low of 10 at night on Sunday with a high of maybe 32 degrees. So,
well, look at you.
It's, I mean, like it's
moonlighting as a forecaster now, huh?
I like seeing, I like, once again, mountain weather forecast prepares you for the worst. And I've never found it to be really that accurate, except for that time maybe I was up on Cornwall Mountain and we had some crazy winds. But it said it was supposed to be cloudy that day, and it turned out to be sunny the whole freaking day. But other than that, like
Friday's gonna be like Friday's the kind of day where I would purposely go to a certain spot in the Catskills.
For what reason?
Just for extreme weather. Like you take me as a weather guy and as a hiker, and let me tell you, I've purposely put myself in some pretty precarious situations on purpose just to experience the raw force of nature, right? Like, I mean, I'm not like Reed Timmer, driving into F5 tornadoes, but I would often, take a look at the weather models and be like, pinpointing my location, being like, this is where I need to be at this exact time for this incoming cold front. Friday looks like a pretty wild day. I don't know that the Catskills get out of the 40s entirely until maybe Friday. Like Thursday, the Catskills don't get out of the 40s, so you're not going to lose too much snowpack. It's always a safe bet to assume that it's about 3 to 5 degree difference for every 1,000 feet of elevation gain.
Nice.
So, whatever you're seeing at the lower elevations for every 1,000 feet up, you can take 3 to 4 degrees off of it, times 3,000 feet. Anywhere from a 9 to 12 degree temperature difference is quite common, especially where the escarpment meets the valley. As soon as you get into the Western Catskills, it's a little bit different. But the cool thing about Friday's high temperature in the Catskills will occur at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So about 7 a.m., maybe you're in the 40s, maybe 41. But I would imagine that above 2,500 feet, it stays in the 30s, even on Friday. So you're not going to lose much snowpack. But the creme brulee crust is coming.
Yeah.
You put an inch of rain on top of the snowpack and then drop temps almost immediately back into the 20s. The post holes will be set in like mortar.
Yeah.
And, everything else will be creme brulee crust.
But the beauty of that is you can go anywhere you want in the Catskills because it's basically been paved and not blacktop, but we'll call it white top. So
I kind of said that's not real today. I kind of like today. I was breaking trail and I still didn't get to make it paved on the way up to Blackhead or Black Dome.
What Alex is telling us with the precipitation coming on Friday in the form of wet precipitation, rain, that top layer of snow is going to get saturated. Then it's going to freeze up as the day goes on and just turn into white cement.
True, but it's going to be horrible with those. Like I couldn't smooth out those areas up there. So like I had like somebody's going to have a bad time going up to the Lockwood Gap.
Spikes.
I've always found that I know that people have differing opinions. I find weather events like Friday to be crucial to a proper snowpack.
Yeah.
Every good snowpack needs some early glaciation occurring underneath it to make it sustain through other warmer periods throughout the winter.
Mm-hmm.
I like when we get that good solid crust underneath and then start rebuilding snowpack on top of it. It's often this layer that we see here now today in the middle of December that is the one that holds on late into March and early April as the only surviving layer, right? It's like it almost becomes fossilized.
That'd be nice.
Snowpack that follows. Yeah. So
it's like an ice skating rink with refrigeration underneath it. This early base layer, if you will, just
it's kind helpful. It's helpful. But if you're hiking on Friday, when that cold front comes through, squall line and all, because there will be an embedded squall line with it that passes through. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be one of those days in the Catskills where on your way up the summit, if you're on your way up the summit early, let's call it a 6 a.m. start. You're on your way up a summit anywhere in the Eastern Catskills. On the way up, you're going to be like, oh my God, it's freaking mild out. It's 40 degrees. There's those little bugs crawling around on the snowpack. It's going to make you feel like spring's coming. Insects are emerging because they don't know what the hell's going on. And all of a sudden you're going to get hit with a squall line, compact squall line of heavy rain, maybe a rumble of thunder. It's going to pour. The wind's going to whip in behind it. And before you even get a chance to turn around and head back down, the rain's going to turn over to squally snow because the temp is literally going to drop. Let's see. You could go from 40 at 9 a.m. to 30 by 1.
Nice.
So it's going to plummet quick. Be a wild ride up there.
Yeah. We're going to have to take a break because Stosh is calling in sick to work on Friday.
This is like, Alex, we got to hook up and do this, man. This sounds fun. That's why I used to like to go on Grand Mountain because it just had the most extreme weather that you would ever see. It's like the Mount Washington of the Catskills.
Yeah, it's got nothing but low terrain to the west. Even Balsam does very little to protect Graham because it's slightly north. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it slightly higher?
Balsam is
Balsam Lake Mountain is number 35 on the 35s, right? So it's so doesn't Graham out elevates, so it peaks up slightly above Balsam to its west, which means it gets the full force of all weather that comes in from the west.
Yeah, exactly.
So I look at it this way: a concrete structure on most other peaks in the Catskills would still be in fine condition.
Yeah, and then Graham has deteriorated.
Not Graham.
Yeah. Awesome. So hopefully, after this, Alex will give us a detailed forecast for every episode that we have so we can give you guys 100% Catskill forecast. We'll hook up. We'll talk about it. So let's get on to the last set of sponsors, and then we'll get on to Alex about microclimates. Finally, so discover Camp Catskill in Tannersville, your ultimate hiking store. Find top quality gear, apparel, and accessories for all your outdoor adventures. Our expert staff is here and help every hiker from beginners to seasoned pros. We also carry a variety of unique Catskill souvenirs and gifts. Visit us online or at campcatskill.co or in the store to get gear up for your next journey. Adventure starts at Camp Catskill. Also, embark on a transformative journey with Another Summit. Another Summit is dedicated to serving veterans and first responders with free outdoor activities. Activities like walks in nature, paddling, hiking, and even backpacking. Join our supportive community to rejuvenate in nature's embrace. Experience camaraderie, adventure, and healing at no cost. Take your next step with Another Summit and ascend to new heights of resilience and joy. Apply today at anothersummit.org. So let's finally get on to the guest of the night.
Let's go.
So Alex Marra is joining us from Hudson Valley Weather, talk about microclimates. Alex was back on episode 106, where he talked about his organization. This was a program called Hudson Valley Weather, brings great weather forecasts to the Catskills and to the Hudson Valley area that unfortunately I don't share, apparently. So I will start sharing that a little bit more often. I don't think it'll do anything for you. You guys are already just too insanely popular. Mine, I'll give you it's like almost like a 3-finger high five, Alex, where you you guys are phenomenal. Your team is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, listen, any love is always appreciated. If it makes you feel better, you're the only hiking podcast I listen to.
Hey,
that's nice.
So sharing other forecasters' weather, it's cool. I get it. We'll try to do a better job for you.
No, and that, dude, I gotta admit, your job is the toughest job in like the world, because people just call you out for a freaking like an inch of difference of snow. I only got 6 inches when you said there'd be 7. Screw you guys. I'm not following you. Like, come on. Like, there's no, like, what we're going to talk about tonight is kind of going to explain why there's a difference in the weather that you see.
Science is difficult. I would tell you, when I first started Hudson Valley Weather, I used to let those comments get to me. I've learned to just kind of shed them off. In the early days, I remember like going tit for tat with people and trying to explain myself. And now, call it age, call it wisdom, call it experience, I just block people. I'm like, if you don't want to be here, this isn't a hostage situation. You can go back to using your app that changes every 6 minutes. Clearly you don't respect or understand the science, and I don't have the bandwidth to burn arguing with somebody who's just never going to get it. So when people throw rude comments out, I just kind of I don't even get into a tit for tat. Or what happens more often than not is the fans just jump in and absolutely obliterate people. They're like,
yeah.
What are you doing here? You don't understand, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I don't need to do anything there. So.
Well, how about you give a little background about yourself, like early years of Alex's life, and then you can break into, we'll talk about Hudson Valley Weather later. So like how'd you get into the Catskills? How'd you get into, this part of your life?
So, I grew up in Hurley. I spent most of my life in Hurley. So I've kind of grown up in the shadows / foothills of the Catskills. But I wouldn't say growing up I was overly outdoorsy. I fished a few times with my dad, went on a few simple hikes. I say simple hikes, but like Ferncliff Forest. I don't know if you know where that is.
Oh yeah, the fire tower is awesome.
Yeah, we used to go there when I was a kid. That was like probably like the most extreme version of hiking that I did at the time. And then I wouldn't say I really got into hiking until, let's say, I was probably about 22, 23 years old. The first time I summited a high peak. So it's not something I was doing early in my life. I was about 23 is probably spot on. And a typical, and I think back, I was at that time, like if this podcast existed 23 years ago when I summited my first hike, one of you two may have hopped on here, you or Tad, and been like, I saw this bozo today hiking with jeans on, right? Jeans and sneakers, no map, just trudging up. And I asked them what they were doing, and they said, oh, we just got into hiking, so we decided to do Slide Mountain first, right? And when I think about that now, is Slide Mountain necessarily a difficult hike? No, not in the bigger scheme of things from a Catskill mountain hiking standpoint. But that wasn't the thing. It was an ego thing, right? It's the highest, right? So like you think like early 20-year-old with a buddy, and we're like, oh, we should do a hike, man. Let's just do the highest one, right? Like, and we did it. We did it with a backpack full of Heinekens. That was the only thing that came up the mountain on the first hike.
It's badass.
Heinekens, no water.
Yeah. What year was this again?
This was
23 years ago, 2002.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Heinekens, no water, jeans, and just started hiking.
Did you have a bottle opener?
Yep.
So I guess you had the essentials. You had the 10 essentials.
We were somewhat prepared. I remember like a quarter way up, stopping. Like we were tired, right? It's like we weren't hikers, so we stopped on the trail and just sat down and started drinking a beer while other hikers were coming up the mountain. Right? Things like people like I picture like the you and the Tads and the me now of the world coming up a mountain to two dudes with jeans on, just pounding a Heineken while sitting on a rock on the trail itself. Not like even off trail, on trail, just drinking a beer and being like, wow, this is who are these idiots, right? So we finished the hike, we got to the top. When I got to the top, it was just like something hit me. Like having ADD, I was always a very high strung kid growing up. I was always like, I was the kid who couldn't sit still in class. I was the kid who got in trouble in my late teens because I was always looking for a new thrill. And when you're looking for a thrill and you're 17, 18, 19 years old, they don't typically bring you to great places. When I got to the top of Slide Mountain, I got that same feeling. But it wasn't from beer or the club or taking risks or doing things that could get me in bigger trouble or send me down a dark road. It was like the healthy version of it. And I remember standing up there and I was like, wow, that's a cool feeling. Like I just accomplished something that was difficult. I need more. Right. So we came down the mountain and I started doing research on whatever you would want to call the internet in 2000, 2003. You're talking about like, I think I was on like a BlackBerry.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And I started reading about all the high peaks in the Catskills. And I was like, wow, there's 35, there's 35 more, there's 34 more thrills just like that in the Catskills. And I was like, let's do another one. And I believe the second one was Catskill High Peak, going halfway around the snowmobile loop, unfrozen, and being like, this is insane. Like, just like sliding up into our knees in mud and being like, what am I even on right now? And getting up there and standing on Hurricane Ledge and being like, oh my God, like this is insane. And I think back again to the shifts that occur when you're maturing into a hiker, right? So I went from Heinekens in a backpack on Slide Mountain in jeans. By the very next hike, there were no beers, but there was now jeans full of water, right? And I remember on the way back down, me and my buddy ran into two guys hiking with trekking poles, right? And me and my buddy were like, look at these losers. Like, what do they need trekking poles for? Like, what is that? Like, they can't climb without poles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we finished the second peak, and I then around this time learned about the 3500 Club. So now, super cool, and I started reading more about like 3500 Club and how many people have done it. And then I would say maybe by the fourth hike, I had the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference maps, trekking poles, snowshoes, crampons, all non-cotton gear, platypus bags with the insulated tube cover, right?
Wow.
So the water wouldn't freeze, which never worked, by the way.
Yeah.
It started this journey of just learning the importance of, being a steward for the woods. And it wasn't too far into it where I found myself correcting other hikers' etiquette. And I was always very, very humble about it, because when I see people attacking each other online about what they see on the trail, or people doing stupid stuff, I look back to the fact that I did stupid stuff, not on purpose, but because I didn't have the wisdom, I didn't have the mentor to show me the right way. I stumbled into this on my own. I didn't have somebody to take me by the shoulders and say, hey, you ever been hiking? I didn't have the greatest relationship with my father. Like I said, we didn't get to do special things like that. And I think sometimes the hiking community likes to take this approach, like everyone wakes up one day and they understand what it means to be a responsible hiker.
Correct.
And all they do is diminish people's aspirations and make people become uninterested. Because if somebody had done that to me early on, if the person walking by me on slide was like, dude, what are you doing? You don't drink beer on a trail, get out of here. If social media existed at that point and I got smeared through the mud on Facebook, I probably would have shadow banned myself from the Catskills. And that would have changed the course of my life. It would have changed the course of other people's lives. I mean, I went on to be on the back picture of a New York, New Jersey Trail Conference map.
Wow.
I was on the map. My picture is on the map.
That's cool.
I found, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Long Island chapter of the ADK Club.
Yeah.
They did this thing early in the 2000s where they were hiding a plaque. So
you found the plaque? I've read about the plaque.
I found the plaque.
Really? Wow. Now that's impressive, listeners. This is like for me, this is a gem. I've read about the plaque. I've talked to the plaque about people and they don't have a fucking clue what I'm talking about when I talk. So Alex, tell us about the plaque and tell us about finding it. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah. So same thing, just doing research. At this point, I would say we were done. We were done with the summer peaks. I was 1833 to do all of them in the summer. And I was working through the winter ones and I stumble across the ADK Long Island chapter site. And I'm reading and I see this plaque and I'm like, and there's a set of clues. And I'm like, what is this? It's a treasure hunt in the Catskills? I was like, there's no way. And I read the clues. And while on the phone with my buddy, I read the clues and I said, I know exactly where this is. And he was like,
no way.
He was like, what? He was like, how could you possibly know based on those clues? And I was like, trust me, this means this and this means this. And I could probably dig up the original. I have all the articles saved and a picture of me holding the plaque. We hiked directly to where I thought it would be. And it had already been hidden it went unfound for multiple years. It was just sitting up there unfound. Mm-hmm. And we walked and we found it the very next day in exactly the same spot that I thought it would be. And we got to rehide it and personally rewrite the clues.
Nice.
for the next chapter to go on and find it. And believe me, we used our knowledge of the Catskills, and we were mean about it.
Nice.
We hid that thing on Friday Mountain, in a crack at the bottom of the slab that you stand on near the top of the summit. We went past the summit, walked off the edge of a little cliff, found a little crevasse in a rock, slid the Ziploc bag plaque into it and then placed another rock in front of it
Oh,
to pin it in place.
what a
And
dick.
then rewrote all the clues and said to ourselves, ha ha ha, now somebody's got to go to Friday Mountain if they want to find it. And it was eventually found again, but it stayed hidden for quite a long time before it was found again. I don't know if they're still doing it. I know they didn't do it for a very long time, and I don't know if they've re-hidden it anytime soon. But I always thought to myself, man, what a great way of getting people involved in the woods. I wish people did that more often. Recently there was this guy who hid gold.
Oh yeah, I went over that. I forgot his name. Yeah, they did a whole little treasure hunt that it said it was on Stony Clove and stuff like that. There was a whole. I don't think anybody ever found it, right? And
it gets people outside. It's not the only thing I found in the Catskills. Somebody, one of the authors of a Catskill hiking guide, hid something and put the clues in his book. And I went and found that the same day I read the book. So I got the book the day it was released, went to the very last page, read the clues. I think the book was Catskill Hikes.
Tom Rankin?
It may have been Tom Rankin or somebody. It was a patch. They hit a patch up in the Catskills and ended up being hidden on Burnt Knob.
So now, Alex, you're talking about these old days. What'd you say you were, like 1833?
1833 for
wow.
And I'm 600 something for winter peaks.
Wow. I'm 28, 29. Tad, what are you?
2960.
So like that's at almost 1,000 over. Like that's crazy. How were those days climbing back in the peaks with no trails and stuff? Like can think about it, there was hardly any bushwhacking trails, but 1,000, I couldn't even think about 1,000 before me. There was nothing. There had to be nothing.
Let me tell you, Friday Balsam Cap, the 6th there, just east of Peekamoose, because we did those. We advantageously did that as a loop. I know a few people have also went on to take that approach, which was absolutely brutal, by the way. And Stash, I'm sure you've kind of done something. I'm sure you've done something similar to that.
Yeah.
It was, and I got to look at a map to remember what the full loop we did was. But
it's probably like Peekamoose, Table, Lone Rocky, Friday, Balsam Cap, and then back down the Fisherman's Path on the Denning.
And then, back onto the trail.
Oh.
And at that time, there were 0 signs of people on these summits. When I say that we were pushing through balsams, I have pictures after that hike of our faces, arms were just bloodied. Bloodied, just getting absolutely assaulted by balsam trees. There was no sign of anything. You just got instantly turned around. Even the canisters weren't in the greatest of shape.
And they were gray, right? They weren't orange.
They were not meant to stand out at all. They blended right in. They were especially difficult in the winter. Balsams growing, 8 to 12 inches apart from each other, literally just forcing your way through vegetation, and becoming easily disoriented, because you just couldn't see much of what was ahead of you or get any point of reference. And all of them were like that. I recently went back up them. It was more unrecognizable to me in its current state than what I had remembered it to be previously. Because when we did them previously, they were difficult. They were everything that the early trail guides say they were. Yeah. They were difficult. They were dangerous. It was very easy to get turned around. And planning progress, like when we did that loop, you do the math in your head. You're like, okay, I can do 2 to 3 miles per hour on easy terrain. Steep terrain, it's like a mile or less per hour. it's hard to imagine that when you started getting off trail into some of these areas, we were doing like quarter-mile hours. Just like there, I remember being on Balsam Cap and like had to track back because the trees had like taken my gear off of me. Like my compass was hanging in a tree.
Yeah.
My arms were bleeding. My face was bleeding. It was just brutal. And now you go up there and you're like, this is like the throughway compared to what I remember. And it saddens me because I don't personally believe that from a sustainability fact, it's the sheer volume that's the problem, right? Like everyone likes to say like, hey, off trail hiking isn't good for the summits. You're damaging vegetation, so on and so forth. I can tell you, if I'm 1833 and 6 something for the winter, there was no sign of the 1832 who did it before me.
Yeah.
There was no sign. You would have thought that you were like Henry Hudson exploring terrain for the very first time. I think what became the problem is the popularity of it and the sheer volume. But then again, I think to myself, and this is where your comment is interesting, is if I'm 1833 and 1,832 people did it before me, and the summit was literally unnavigable, then how did 1833 to 29 change it so much? Right? What's the difference between the second 1,000 and the first 1,000?
So when did you finish though? What year? Wild guess.
Before 2015.
I mean, I was 2017.
I'm going to say it was sometime between 2011 and 2013.
Oh yeah. So like 2017, like I had barely noticeable like herd paths, barely. Like going up Hawkett, I could do myself, stuff like that. Cheryl North Dome was nothing. But then like after that, it was just high volume traffic where Friday and Balsam Cap was an easy, it's called the Rim, the Rim Trail. And then going up to Friday was just a joke. It's crazy to think, once again, like you said, when did it start going crazy? I mean, you can go back and see the pure volume on the 3,500 Club of when it started increasing. You can kind of do the math yourself of when it started going insane, and like, of course, COVID, we saw, I forgot what Jim said of how the increase have happened, but, all right. That was awesome. Fantastic. Sorry. Let's get into the microclimates, the actual discussion.
I mean, that was a cool conversation. It made me happy that Tad even knew what I was talking about. It's one of those weird achievements in life where you tell most people, hey, I found the ADK plaque after it was hidden for 3 years.
That's crazy. I'm going to have to look that up.
And people are like, what are you talking about?
So before we move on, though, Alex, where did you find it? I heard it was once found on the Van Benschoten Trail going up.
I believe that was before us. That was one of the first hiding spots. So
yeah.
The question with this, like, did you find this for the internet? Like, how did you guys send the information to each other? Like, we're talking 2000, like pre-2010 stuff, right?
I want to find the
this is back when for Facebook, when there would be like that online posting.
Yahoo.
Yeah, I mean, it was before. It was Yahoo may or may not have been out there, but like the Catskill Mountaineer.
Oh yes, the Cowman. Yeah, they had that blog. Like,
yes,
not the blog, but whatever it was.
And so there's a lot of stuff on there that goes back to the early 2000s that's been somewhat lost or forgotten. And frankly, in 2018, that's where I read about the bus on Mount Cheryl. was on one of those old forum posts. Some guy mentioned it. And then I started digging around, and there was a fellow that does this, I think it's called Man Walking blog, and he hikes all over the Northeast and comes down to the Catskills every now and then. And so he did this post about finding the bus on Cheryl, and that's what prompted me to go out and look for it. That's
just fascinating. I never knew about this plaque that you're talking about. That's crazy.
So I had read about the plaque, and
I found the follow-up article. So here we go. The ADK Long Island plaque had been hiding somewhere in the Catskills since 2009, when Alex Marra and Will Soder, the last people to find the plaque, hid it and issued the following clues. And the clues we wrote were: there are no high peaks south of me, but one angry river separates me from my tallest friend. Call me Napoleon, the way I fight back as you try your hardest to ascend. My closest friends are lonely with balsam caps. You'll have to snap and bend. Take 6 paces southwest from my summit. The plaque is under where you stand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
It's very cool.
And then here's the article of the gentleman who found it. He found it on my reaction when I realized that the clues from Alex Marra pointed to Rocky Mountain in the Catskills as the hiding place for the famous ADK Long Island chapter plaque. The engraved slab had been repeatedly secreted away in the mountains for adventurers to find. At 3508, Rocky barely makes the Catskill 3500, but is considered one of the most remote peaks. And that's where he found it. So we hit it on Rocky, not Friday.
Okay.
And I'm trying to find the article of when we found it.
Yeah. And when you say you hit it on Rocky, that makes more sense.
I was going to say Southern, that's pretty, I mean, that's tough, a tough statement to say there are no peaks south of us. A lot of people be like, what the fuck is he talking about? That's tough. Interesting.
And so there's a keyhole rock feature on Rocky. Is that where you hit it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, we placed a little stone in front of it, and we hit it there.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, so this is like an episode right here. Everything after this is bonus material. We go into the encore performance with Microclimates. This is like Catskill legend.
Alex Marra.
Yeah, finding the ADK plaque, man. You can do a full grid and not even know of the plaque, let alone find it.
We found it in January of 2009 on Round Top.
Oh wow,
on Round Top.
Not even a 3,500 peak.
Yeah, it was on Round Top.
Nobody went to Round Top back then.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Everybody who did only knew about Thomas Cole and his painting.
No, back then, if you were on Round Top, you were fucking lost, right? You were trying to get to Catskill and you ended up on Round Top back then. There was no reason peak baggers, would be doing the 35 list. Why would they be going to Round Top?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hey everyone, I just want to thank you for listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe and throw down a smooth review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any podcast platform that you use. You can also check daily updates of the podcast, hikes, hiking news, and local news on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the official website of the show. Remember this. You gotta just keep on living in the Catskills, man. Livin.
Wicked.